And we're live. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Mac, uh, the Gray Skeptic, and I'm here with NotJah Witness.
G'day, g'day.
This is his first interview. He has graced me with his presence first. No, it's really an honor to have him on for his first interview in the community. So first off, welcome to the community, NotJah Witness.
Thank you. And I have been very welcomed here in the last couple of weeks, so thank you very much.
Yes, you've gotten a lot of support from a lot of
Yeah.
terrific people. So that's something that's really great about this community. They're very supportive.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. A lot of people just reaching out straight away and said hello and, gave me their support.
Yes. So let's jump right into it. Um, so you were a Jehovah's Witness, and well, how long?
Um, it's weird when you're like from birth kind of thing. So from whenever you're sort of conscious as a kid till probably about 12. That's my best estimate as an age, 12 or 13.
Okay. And then how old are you now? If you don't mind me asking.
29. Yeah.
Okay.
Had a
Well,
birthday not long ago, but boy, it's hard to remember, the actual age I'm hitting.
yeah, yeah. I remember when I turned what was it, 26? I thought I was 27 all year.
Yep. Yeah, it happens.
It
And
does.
then eventually you tend not to want to know what age you're hitting.
Yeah, yeah, get that. All right, and then so you said until you were about 12, and then that's when you started to like taper off.
Well, no, that's when I really went. I left. Like I did a hard walkout, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
Um, but I I had a few different reasons for that, I suppose. Like, I never really was too happy with being where I was anyway, and because it was a family thing, I didn't have an out. And so once something presented itself, I went with it.
Okay. Um, well, one, I can hear myself with feedback here. I don't know if you can turn me down just a little bit.
Shouldn't be, because you're on headphones. I'll turn you down a
Oh,
bit.
that's odd.
Yeah, there we go. I brought you down a bit.
Okay. Um, so you said once something presented itself, um, you kind of hopped out of there. So I
Like
guess,
an opportunity to leave.
sorry.
It was like an opportunity to leave presented itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what really made you want to start to leave in the first place then?
Well, I suppose growing up um, in the religion, having to uh, try and follow all of their beliefs and the way of life you have to lead. And I was growing up in a very small country town, so everyone knows who you are. They know your beliefs. You become ostracized, and this is just as a very, very young kid. And I had other issues as well. I have every other reason to be picked on as a kid, but for that, I always wanted to have that sort of social life. I wanted to know what it was like having normal friends, and not kids that were a couple years older than me or a couple years younger than me that happened to be in the faith as well. And again, being a small country town, there weren't many of them. So I always just wanted, like, and little things, little things like birthday parties that the school would throw each day, for everyone's birthday. So I had two other kids that had the same birthday as me. And so every year on my birthday through primary school, I would get to sit outside, watch through the windows as my entire class got to party and have cake and, do all the birthday celebrations. And when they were done, I got invited back in. It's the same with Christmas or all those other things. We got sent into a different room to do schoolwork while everyone else got to do Christmas things. And then when you know how you do religious class in school, and normally it'd be some form of Christian religion they would teach you. even in public schools, I would actually have to go and do a separate religious class that my mother would teach. She would actually come in and teach the JW religion to me and like one other kid in the school that was a JW. You can imagine that's terribly embarrassing.
Mhm.
So all of this sort of grew to be severe resentment towards the not their actual beliefs, but their lifestyle. You know, like how strictly enforced it all had to be. And especially as a kid, you just want to go and have fun. You want to go and have friends. You know, like so. That's probably the main thing that first, was always in me, that I never wanted to really be there. This wasn't my thing. You know, it wasn't my club. This was Mum's club.
Yeah. Well, that raises a couple questions for me, because we don't really have a religion class in the U.S., at least not until like college or maybe some high school.
True. Okay, I didn't know
So, yeah, that's yeah, they kind of just try to stay away from it.
that. Yeah, no, well, it'd be the
They don't want
separation of
to
church
paint in the
and
pot.
state and all
Sorry.
that. You know, yeah. You'd have the separation of church and state, so they can't have the religious aspects in the public schools. Hence
Right.
why you got so many private school problems that are crazy Christians.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, then how did they pull you out of certain like birthday celebrations or Christmas celebrations or religious class? How did they go about that? Was that some kind of
Oh, it's quite
mandate since you were a Jehovah's Witness, or?
no. It was originally it would have been like grade 1 or whenever I first entered the school. Excuse me. My mum would have explained it all. Just give me a sec. Got a cough.
Okay.
Sorry about that. My mum would have explained it all, and they would have just sort of like allowed it, basically. So each year they would come and tell me that I had to leave, just straight up in front of everybody. Whenever it was time to do the cake, kind of thing. It would have been just before one of the recesses, sort of thing. Like they'd spend the last 20 minutes of school time before recess doing a big party for the kids, and whether it was for the day of my birthday or any other day that some kid is having a birthday, I'd be sent out. It was just straight up. Like, you just sit out there at the front door of the class.
And were you the only Jehovah's Witness there in the class?
In a lot of my classes, yeah. There was, I think, only one class that I had through primary school that I had another witness in my class. No, sorry, it wasn't a witness. It was an atheist. Which was
Oh,
a great, yeah. She was my first experience with atheists. That was grade 2. So, and I still know the girl. She lives here in the same city I do now. So
oh, neat.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That I find that would be one, embarrassing, and two,
Mm.
just kind of awful in general. I can see why you wouldn't really want to live that Jehovah's Witness lifestyle.
Mm. No, it's not fun. And I mean, at a minimum, it really instilled that whole ideal that you shouldn't push religion on children. And I didn't even understand the whole concept of why I should think. But even as a kid, I was like, this is wrong. Like, I shouldn't be having to do all this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't remember who it was who said any religion that scares a child can't be true or shouldn't be true. I can't remember. I feel like that was Thomas Jefferson
I,
almost.
I actually just saw a thing on Twitter not long ago. I'm not going to be able to find it now. Who was it? It was like it was a quote from Tom Petty, the musician. I'm sure you know who that is. And what did he say? It was something like any club, or if you're a part of a club and you find out that the generations that people of that club have been abusing children, you don't want to be a part of that club.
Right.
And he was referring to the Catholic Church, but it was that same whole idea. Like if they're, you find out that this group of people are doing any form of horrific things or indoctrinating children or abuse or any of these things, you just don't want to be a part of it. and even as a kid, you sort of understood that it's all this strict, like the strict lifestyle that you have to abide by, and it's just not. It doesn't work with real life. You know what I mean? Like people can't actually live up to those standards.
Right. It's very unappealing and it's very seclusive. If you just want to be left alone all your life, I guess.
Yep.
I guess it's great.
Because that's basically their end goal, is that whole one world with their world leader, which is Jesus.
Right. Yeah. Because as I talked with Fenrir, he said it's just the witnesses who get to live in paradise for all eternity. So it's just them. So if that's what they want, they're just getting practice in, right?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are teachings, whether they're old light maybe, that had more of a higher more of a higher possibility of other, the worldly people getting through into paradise, but it was sort of as a secondary test. So like this is a test under imperfection, and then we have a test under perfection, under God's rule. So, but I don't know whether that's still current, because I'm honestly, when I go back and I'm watching these new videos that the JWs do and reading up on jw.org, I'm amazed at some of the stuff that I just was so unfamiliar with, or is new, like, or what has changed with their beliefs. So even Fenrir was telling, like, some of the things in that interview, I was just like, wow, like it never even occurred to me that this was a part of the religion, but there are so many aspects of it.
Yeah. The longer you're in it, or the deeper you go, the more trash.
Further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, further down the rabbit hole, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, you said that when you found it out around the time you were 12, you just up and left. Can I ask what that was? What was your out?
So there was an elder, a brother. We'll just call him an elder, because currently they're still family friends. So I don't want to or family friends of my parents. So I don't want to, be too nasty or anything. But basically, my older brother was also, like, we were all in the faith, us three boys, and my older brother had sort of started wavering himself. He'd started hanging out with kids, going to parties. He'd, I think, just hit his teenage years and stuff. And he had been given a harsh word to by this elder, and in a bit of a very demeaning way, and he up and left. Okay, so this was my older brother, and I only found this out not long ago. But just after that is when he basically comes and talks to me about this, and sort of uses it as a warning that I don't want to be like my older brother, who's evil and lost his way in life and all of this stuff. And you got to understand, I, especially up until this point, had always looked up to my older brother. He was everything. We were best mates. So this immediately, like, it just offended me in a way I never knew possible from these people that I thought were meant to be like family. And that was my out. I didn't know that the amount of, like, I didn't know the details between what happened between the elder and my older brother until just recently. But I did know that he was using my older brother as a warning, like as if he was like the evil seed of the family that I got to try and avoid. And that threw me. That's when I was like, no.
Gotcha. So was your brother excommunicated then?
I am not actually sure, because none of us were baptized, as far as well, my little brother is now, but at the time, and so I think he got to sort of fade off, sort of the way I did as well. And I think we got that little bit of leeway because we still have family in the faith, so they're trying to convert us still.
Gotcha. So then, do you still live with your brother, or do you still live with your family then? Or?
Little brother, yeah, and the family, but not the older brother. He's moved out, moved on. He's now part of the what do they call them? The Life Church people. You know, the singing rock Life Church, rock singing to God.
Oh,
you know, they do like it's literally like a new metal band on the stage singing about Jesus and you know, praise to the Lord, but they're doing it in a way that's trying to appeal to metalheads and, you know, the young kids these days.
Yeah.
It's awful. So I don't understand how he went from one to another, basically. You know? But yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. Gotcha. All right. So so do you guys still live with your family then? You and your brother?
Parents, yes. Yeah, we do.
Gotcha. And do they know that you're I guess that's another question then too. Do you identify as an atheist now?
I don't think I do. I'm, if anything, probably agnostic, but also anti-theist, if that's the right term. I might be using that wrong, so I apologize if I am, but I'm basically against any form of organized religion. I don't necessarily believe in God, but I don't, I can't by my own good standing stand here and say that there is no God. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But having said that, I can say that it's not that God or it's not that God, you know? So.
Right. Yeah, and as far as I understand it, and I'm trying to pay attention and not get too caught up into labels, but it sounds like the agnostic stance is, you know, it's a claim that that you don't have the knowledge that there is or a God, and then atheism is you don't necessarily believe that there's a God. So they can kind of go hand in hand, and then the anti-theist is the one I'm more, oddly enough, more comfortable with, because I think is very straightforward. It's like if you're an anti-theist, then it's just you believe that the belief in a theistic God or religion, you could say, is just more harmful than good.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, that I suppose I still use that right then.
yeah.
Anti-theists.
Yeah. Okay. So then, do your parents know? Does your family know that you're leaning towards anti-theism?
Probably my dad, but that's because he's never really held to any religion. Not by principle, he's a very conservative kind of guy, but he's never held to a religion. He doesn't have a god. And so I haven't been outright and direct, but he's somebody I've at least even mentioned that I've got this channel, you know, and I've doing these exposés on cults and religions sort of thing. I'm a bit more open like that to him, and I think he's definitely smart enough to clue on. But they're not my mum or my little brother.
Okay.
Not yet. That's hence the secrecy with my voice and my name and all of that.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, it can definitely be dangerous and self-detrimental to come out of that kind of religion in any way, really, especially with an anti-theist label. So I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, I think more than anything, I'm more concerned about my mother just because she's been in it so long. She's dedicated so much to it, and I can imagine how much that'd break her heart, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just recently came out to my parents. They actually found my Twitter because my dad's on Twitter. So I came out not the way I wanted to, but but I had to go and talk to them once they found out. And it can be disappointing to family and friends when they learn that you're not religious at all. Like they can be okay, like if they're Jehovah's Witness and they're like a Catholic, but once you drop it all together. People tend
Actually, that's funny that not so much, because one other thing about Jehovah's Witnesses is that they are very anti the other religions. Like their whole spiel is to convince your everyday Christian why their Christianity isn't right. So it sort of doesn't work if you go from being a JW to being one of the other Christians. You're almost worse, and
Yeah,
that was detrimental to my mother's relationship with my older brother.
gotcha. Okay. And I've heard that too. I didn't quite mean to word it that way.
No, you're right.
If it's the other way around, like a Catholic tends to, I can't say a Catholic, some Catholics, a lot of Christians in my area, it doesn't matter what sect of Christianity that you are, as long as you're Christian.
Yeah. Well, for most other sects, as you say, of Christianity, even here, that's the exact same. They, as long as you hold, Jesus there up as number one, you're good in their books. But yeah, I've just never found that with JWs.
Yeah, I mean they are the chosen ones.
Apparently.
I mean, but that's how everyone looks at it. It's just I think I'm with a lot of you where I can say that Jehovah's Witnesses really take it a step further. Like you have your own communities, you kind of ostracize everyone else,
Yep.
or as soon as you step out of it, you are everyone else. And a lot of people have called it a cult. And that was one of the questions I had for you: is do you see it as a cult?
I definitely do see it as a cult. I don't always use the word though, especially not if I feel I'm talking to Jehovah's Witnesses or if I'm trying to reach them, because
Right.
I know that's one of those trigger words. But
Oh.
otherwise, yeah, I definitely agree.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting across the board, and that's sad because, like most cult members, they don't feel like they're in a cult.
Exactly.
So, like, what can you do to help them? Because you can't just
And
be blunt.
the members themselves, for the most part, are just innocent people. Like they're victims. They're like me. Like I would have been one of them. I was born into it. I wasn't like born stupid. I was just unfortunately born into a religion that was wrong, and I believed it. It takes a lot of evidence to convince somebody that has lived their entire life believing something, convince them otherwise. Or even just to show them a little bit of light. It takes a lot of work. It might be all you need to do, because that was what happened to me. I was so stubborn, avoiding anything that would doubt my particular religion. Any other religion, I'm fine, rip them apart, because that was, after all, what we do as Jehovah's Witnesses, is rip other Christians apart. But anything that would try and, rip my religion apart, even after I'd left, I wouldn't go near it. No, I know better. I know better. I had that attitude. I didn't need to watch it. I knew better, but I didn't. And it was literally just, I can't remember, like I've tried finding the video now, but I can't remember what video exactly it was, but it took one video, all of a sudden, it was like opening floodgates. Like I was all of a sudden, all these other things that I've been arguing with in my mind, it all just clicked, and everything suddenly made sense. Is that Fenrir? Hello, sexy man.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing? Good to hear
Doing
your
good.
voice. Oh, bro.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. I didn't mean to send out a link to have other people in.
Yeah, nice.
Part of
have a party.
I'm going to make it a hangout. I'm very new with making it live. Every other one we had is was a private.
Surprise, motherfuckers!
Right.
Well, of all people to jump in, I'm glad it was you, Fenrir. That's very welcome.
Awesome. Well, feel free to stick around.
Alrighty, cool.
You look very comfortable there, by the way.
He does.
I am. I'm in bed, ready to fall asleep, and I saw y'all were doing this, and I'm like, oh, let me check this out.
Oh, too kind, too kind.
I'm very glad, though. Very glad. And we've had 2 or 3 viewers just about the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks for coming in, people. I really
Thank you. Yeah, whoever's there. It was just Fenrir on different accounts.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely know what you mean by if you think you're right, you really don't need to watch yourself. If you have the truth, well, then you have the right to push that truth and tell people that they're wrong.
That's it. And we get indoctrinated on what the responses are, like what the counter arguments are. And it's always going to be a strawman argument. And the reason that you'll always get those standardized responses is that's just been brainwashed into them, and they don't actually answer your question. They're just answering, the question that they were given in the book, and then giving the answer that they were given in the book. You know what I mean? Like, they just hear a single word. Maybe you said evolution. Maybe you said this, and they'll go, "What was that response I read?"
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You have to go back to jw.org to find your answer to give people.
Yeah, like I back in my day, it was watchtowers and the Bible, and yeah, but exactly.
Right.
I wish we had freaking smartphones when I was a JW. That would have made life so easy. I was carrying around these big suitcases with all the books and the big Bibles and oh Lord, I was a little kid. Still am a little dude, but anyway.
That reminds me a little bit. Not to get too off topic, but I was watching. I can't remember her name, but the lady who made the documentary, "Take the Red Pill," and she was saying, I'm sorry.
I haven't actually seen that. I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's I actually haven't watched it yet myself, but I have watched or listened to about 6 or 7 hours worth of interviews on it.
Oh, fair enough.
So I pretty much got the gist of it.
You'd hope you would after that.
Yeah, because I was so interested in the feedback that she got, which was a lot of negativity, obviously, because feminists don't like anything that oppose them. But she was talking about how when she was doing these interviews with MRA activists, she found herself, when she watched the video back, she just found herself waiting for trigger words, just waiting for something that she could respond to. Like, "Oh, I gotcha."
Yep.
Go on that spiel. So
you're not really listening. You're just waiting for your opportunity to stop the response.
Right. Yeah. It's not a real conversation if you're not really trying to hear what someone else is saying to you. It's just, yeah, let's talk, but you're really just waiting to correct them. And I've also been in those shoes, not quite as much as what you two have told me, but I can imagine it's about like that. You're just waiting to correct them to make your point.
But that's all they've got, because ultimately they are, like, before they walk up to your door, that's their goal. Their one goal is to get you to a Bible study or to get you reading their books and to get you interested in their religion. That's all they want to do. They don't give a shit about anything else. They're going to ask you about your day, or they're going to see your kids and say, "Oh, what a lovely pet." They don't care. They're just going to use that to get you to do a Bible study, or try to.
Exactly.
And God forbid if they come up to your door with kids and you have kids, because they'll have the kid with the trying to, do the Bible study thing, and yeah, no, that's what I had to put up with. Shit house. Sorry, I should have asked this before. Am I allowed to swear?
Oh, yeah, swear away.
Cool. I was meant to ask, earlier. I had a bit of a problem there.
No, it's no problem.
Yeah, that would be bad, since I came in with a big old surprise, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's true. That's it, bang Fenrir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else do I have for you? I wanted to know more about your earlier life as a JW, and I know you said around 12 is when you started to kind of move away from it.
yeah, that's when roughly when I did that hard leave with the elder.
Okay, so then what happened after that? Like, because you still had to go to church after that, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope. See, again, that's where I was probably lucky in it with my father not being of any religion, so he never went to church, the meetings. And so by that point, with how it all went down, basically, yeah, that was when I was allowed to stay home.
Okay. So how'd that work with your parents, if you don't mind me asking? Because usually you have to be a Jehovah's Witness to marry a Jehovah's Witness.
That was probably the worst time in my mum's life, because that was the one time that she got discommunicated from religion, was when she met Dad and they got together before being married. Not for long, they got married pretty soon after, but that was enough for her to have risked everything. You know how they go.
Yeah.
As for after that, how it all sort of resolved itself, I'm not too sure. I mean, it obviously did. Might have helped that it was a small country town and they needed all of the JWs that they could get, maybe. I don't know. That was a bit before my time. By the time I came around, it was just already set in stone. Somebody else came in.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Who's that? I can see it. I don't see any names.
You said you
hello.
Came in?
Oh, is that you? Is that your image, Fenrir? Oh.
Yeah, I took off my video camera.
Yeah. I thought somebody else popped in because I just saw it popped up and I'm like, oh god, somebody else is here.
Yeah, no, I just
watch.
I turned off my camera.
Okay, fair enough. No more sexy Fenrir face, damn.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Sorry, just
no, it's okay.
I'm lost now. Lost where we were.
We were talking about your mom and how you said it. It eventually.
Oh yeah, by the time I'd sort of come around to this world, I was already it had already been sort of set in stone between them. So I don't know how it ultimately was resolved. It was just never something that was brought up too much. Mum still tries to bring him to meetings, like the memorial the other day. She was still hopeful. I don't know why, but she was.
Yeah. So her parents are Jehovah's Witnesses as well, then.
Her mum became a Jehovah's Witness, I think, early in. So it was my grandma became a Jehovah's Witness, I think, early in my mum's life. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm pretty sure that's all. That was where it came from, in my family.
Okay, but not her your father, your grandpa.
No, he was a ex-military German officer, alcoholic, very violent, very angry. Definitely not the sort to be a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah. Doesn't quite fit it.
Nope, it didn't fit the bill.
Just not the military part. The alcoholic abuse part, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few things in there that would work, but no. Yeah, no, it wasn't for him.
So that
that
raises an interesting one for me, because when I offered Fenrir a drink during our interview, he said he could, and I know a lot of Christians can't. How do they look at that, and how's that go along with abuse later on? What's the protocol?
Do you mean alcohol abuse, or?
Yeah, and just the family staying together after that. And
is this okay with my grandfather's problems, or trying to clarify what you mean?
I'm sorry. Kind of in general, if there's any kind of abuse
for the witnesses.
Yeah, for witnesses. What's like? What do the elders have to say? Or is divorce allowed after that? How's it go?
I'm probably not the best person to ask about that, because when I was in the faith, I was way too young to have dealt with anything like that, and now All I can really go by is their literature and.
If you don't mind, I could probably answer that for you.
Yeah, by all means, go for it.
Yeah, alcohol is a pretty big problem within the faith, actually. It's one of the only things that Jehovah's Witnesses can actually do. So a lot of them will go crazy with it. It's a pretty well-known thing at the Bethel headquarters. At least I know for sure at the United States branches in New York, there is a alcoholic problem with all the young people that work there all the time because it's one of the few things that they can do. So a lot of people drink, and they indulge in it. Technically, you're not supposed to. One of the because something in the Bible says that you're not supposed to get drunk and to where you're don't function, but people don't really regulate that too much within the faith, and people go crazy with it.
It's not a disfellowshipping offense.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if you get drunk and somebody says, "Oh, that person was drunk," then the elders might, meet with that person and give them some admonishment, and the person will be repentant and maybe, hold back on the beer for a little while. But after that, things are back to normal. Most of the elders that I've known my whole life, talking with my father and stuff, they all just love to talk about, when they get home from work or from the meetings, they just sit down and have a beer because it helps relieve the stress of the day.
I got to admit, Fenrir, it kind of sounds like everyone's everyday life here in Australia. We just, you finish your day, everyone comes home and has, a carton to drink and passes out. So I was just thinking as you were saying that, I can definitely imagine the JWs here having alcohol problems.
Yeah, definitely. They can't smoke. They can't go out and really talk to other people by partying or anything. So they'll either drink to themselves or when they have their parties, they'll drink.
And that's when you'll find them making YouTube videos, yelling at all
exactly.
atheists.
So then, what's your drink of choice?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'm a beer drinker. I don't know if you guys get Han up there. HAHN.
Don't know about that one.
It's
a nice beer. Nothing special.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It's a nice standard cold brew.
Okay. Gotcha.
If we're going harder stuff, I like vodka.
Okay. That's more my taste. I'm not a big beer drinker. How about
I
you?
am more of a beer drinker myself. And it's funny, one of my favorite beers is the Foster's beer from Australia.
Yeah. They're not our best, but they're not bad.
Right. That's one of my go-to ones.
You guys get 4X?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't drink.
XX.
We might. I'm honestly not an avid drinker like a lot of other witnesses are. So I never really paid too much attention to all the different brands and trying all that stuff. So I'm not sure.
If you ever do see it, just grab like one can because you don't want to have any more than one. But that's what I have to drink when I'm poor, like when I can't buy myself some drinks.
Yeah. Okay. So that's like the Bush's Ice over here.
I'd imagine, yeah.
It's very cheap and watered down.
Yeah, pretty much. That's dead on the money.
Well, then I have a couple of questions, not Jehovah Witness based for you, just so we can get a little bit of an idea of who you are and what you do. Do you mind if I ask you a couple personal questions then?
Go for it. Worst I can do is say you don't want to answer. So, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Like, what do you do for a living, or about?
Family business in a trade.
Okay. Do you like it?
I wouldn't say I necessarily like the work itself, but I don't mind working with the family.
Okay.
You know, like we all get along pretty well. So
that's good.
Do you mind if I ask? Is the having a trade as your job, does that have anything to do with growing up, or having witnessed family members not really encouraging you to pursue a career in anything or higher education?
No, that's just unfortunate set of circumstances. Due to my disability, I find it really hard finding work. And so literally the only person around that would hire me was my dad. And it makes the work itself, because it's physical work, a bit hard. But, at least I got a job.
Yeah. And you've mentioned that a couple times in your videos. Do you mind if I ask what your disability is?
I don't mind. It's just that I don't want to give away, because it's a very unique disability. So it'd be very easy to pinpoint who I am if I gave too many details. But it's basically in a certain part of my body I have where normally there would be muscle. I don't have those muscles.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha. So you're definitely
that's pretty much it.
definitely limited then.
Yes. However, unfortunately, not to the extent where I can claim any form of disability pension or welfare.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I've known a few people like that who've been in those shoes. Like, well, they can't work, or they can't do this, can't do that, but they also can't.
That's why I'm definitely fortunate that I have the job that I have, because I know that without that I'd be screwed.
Yeah. Well, again, especially in that case, it's really nice that you have a really good relationship still with your family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You also mentioned in your videos that you like science.
Yes.
What kind of science do you prefer? What do you really enjoy? What strikes your fancy?
It probably more depends on what my mood, well, not mood is, but just what jumps out at me, because I kind of like I love learning. I love exploring things that I don't know or I don't appreciate properly. That's just the way, and I think that's to the fault of the Jehovah's Witnesses, because it might have even just been my mum and the way she taught me. But it was always about learning the other side and finding out from that why, like you're right or you're wrong, or, a way around to find the answer, or to find a conclusion, a solution, or, something, depending on what you're, researching or doing. But from taking that sort of ideal from a Jehovah's Witness point of view, I would, it'd be taught to me that's why you read the Watchtower books and stuff. You're learning more about it and blah blah blah. But in reality, it's applied by any actual new discovery maybe, or it's the SpaceX stuff that's been happening recently, and that's been blowing my mind. It's just anything really, anything that jumps out at me, and I will devour it.
So it doesn't matter if it's astronomy, biology, marine biology, archaeology, just all of it. That's not cool.
All of the above. Like, I mean, my favorite thing as a kid was I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Oh, cool.
Oh my gosh, that's funny, because I did too.
I know. I remember. I think I heard you saying that, and I was like, "Ah, cool." And I live a couple of 2 hours from a major site in the middle of Queensland.
Oh, neat.
And so it was just a huge fascination for me. And that's a heavy science. Like we didn't get taught that dinosaurs lived with men, and so fossils were never an issue, you know. So I never had that dilemma that most Christians, New Earth creationists or whatever have.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I never got prevented from being able to look into science, because that was the way that God made everything work. You know, that was just he did that. It wasn't that he did the Big Bang even. It was just he implemented it and he stepped back. You know what I mean? Like, so you can freely explore the sciences, and none of it's going to contradict the idea of God. Doesn't work that way, but still.
I agree. But I also kind of had the same kind of upbringing and the same freedom, but I never knew what evolution was. I didn't know what the Big Bang was. It's just like things were open to me, but at the same time, I wasn't a strong reader growing up. And if my parents didn't agree with it, then they just kind of didn't teach me. And I was homeschooled for about half of my school career. So
because that would make it really hard. I always wanted to be homeschooled. I thought that was the answer. But I was looking at it from, you know, being in a public school, being bullied and all that crap. I didn't obviously see it as that, you know, you're just going to get brainwashed to only what you're meant to know. You know, then there's no freedom of learning, you know.
Yeah, it's very easy to get closed off from education that way. And like my mom was really great. Like she really tried her best, and she did a good job. There's just something she ignored, which later on made me feel really, really stupid. So
no, I know exactly how that feels, because it's the same kind of thing with how I said before earlier that my mum would be my religion teacher, and so I would only get taught certain things. And in those cases, then I would go and present my case to the other kids that are getting normal classes, and they're laughing at me, you know. And I don't realize, I think they're laughing at me because they just don't care. But no, it's because they know what I'm being taught and they know better.
right, and you're just thinking, oh well, they're all fucking heathens. Why do I?
Pretty much. Well, they're wrong and I'm right.
Yeah. Now we all said that you both said that you wanted to be paleontologists at one point. I was closer to wanting to be an astronaut, I think, but I also really loved dinosaurs. There was volcanoes, outer space, and dinosaurs for me growing up.
They're like a human extreme. Like the dinosaurs are a long extinct thing that we're never ever going to experience. And for most of us, space is that same thing. It's such an extreme distance that we're never going to experience. So that they're two very good wishes, you know, like for a kid. That's you know, either that or a firefighter.
Yeah. So I was going to ask though if you got to see Jurassic Park when you were a kid.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know if they had it. I figured they did, but as an American, I would just assume you have everything I do.
Yeah. Pretty much do.
So
get it a little bit cheaper and a little bit later.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, because I think we're all about the same age, and I figured that might have had something to do with it. Would you guys say that's about right?
Good point. Yeah. No, actually, The Land Before Time.
Oh, yeah.
I've always known that was the very first movie I ever watched in my life, and still probably my number one movie ever. I love that movie.
That's such a sad movie. It is.
I know. And it's sad on another level, because you know the girl that played Ducky.
Yeah.
Yep. And how her name is Judith Barcy, and how she had a horrible end to her life. Not about a year later,
didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, and killed and burnt the house down, and so that That movie, I always like. I'll go back and I'll watch, and I'll always have a little note and remember Judith for that because she was a bloody good talent.
Yeah.
Wow, I never heard it. I never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Same girl, the little kids movie All Dogs Go to Heaven. She played the little girl in that cartoon as well. That came out just after she passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super sad.
Yeah. Sorry, that I wasn't meant to bring it all down. It was just I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh God, all the press.
That was my fault.
The brain.
Yeah, no, but yeah, for dinosaurs, that's honestly that's what got me into dinosaurs. That movie.
Awesome.
But then Jurassic Park, of course, you can't go past Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, it was so cool. I actually didn't get to watch it until later. My parents just thought I'd be terrified of it, and I wasn't. Like when I finally got to watch it, they're like, "Oh, you're not afraid?" I'm like, "No, I'm not afraid. It's dinosaurs. Why be afraid of dinosaurs?"
Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to see it when it came out in cinema. I probably would have been a bit young at that point, so I would have watched it a bit later too. Now I think about it, VHS or something.
It's really funny though because I wasn't allowed to watch Jurassic Park because it might be too scary. But one of the first movies I remember watching, Terminator 2.
Actually, same here. That was one of the first movies I remember watching. That guy, the how he morphs into the silvery thing or something, that had been stuck in my brain as a kid.
Badass.
Never even knew where it came from until years later. I rewatched Terminator 2. I'm like, oh, holy shit, So yeah, no, I'd watched that as a kid too, and no issues there. But I couldn't watch Jumanji.
Oh.
Nope, no Jumanji.
No Robin Williams for me.
Oh, and now specifically, why is that? Is that just because it's like magic?
Yep.
Yeah, it's all magic, fantasy, it's demons, it's witchcraft, it's all that crap.
Gotcha.
Yeah, specifically, it had something to do with the game itself because it was like a Ouija board.
Ouija board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough to it, at least, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's too
but I used to still watch it, and I loved the cartoon, the Jumanji cartoon. I would sneak downstairs and watch it.
I never knew there was a cartoon.
I would sneak downstairs to watch The Simpsons.
Ooh.
I know, I was so rebellious. I would go and watch The Simpsons. And then when South Park, oh my God, when we finally got South Park, was it the best? But I mean, it was also, the worst reception on the crappiest little television in my room late at night when no one else can hear. Parents are thinking.
I did not watch. I didn't watch South Park till I was like 18 years old. Seriously.
Oh, really? I suppose I was lucky. I left at like 12ish, so I got in time.
Yeah.
I've only watched like 3 episodes ever of The Simpsons, and
really.
Yeah.
Wow. That might be a record for somebody at our age.
Yeah, I think it is. I've watched enough Family Guy though to like kind of make up for it.
I suppose so. See, that's where I'm the other way around. Probably only watch 1 or 2 episodes of Family Guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I didn't really watch The Simpsons. I never really caught on to that, and but I watched the hell out of Family Guy.
Well, I encourage you both to check out Archer if you like.
Yes, I've heard of Archer. Actually, we used to get them in school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. Also, I was going to ask if you have any hobbies besides this.
Besides this, I do a lot of photography, which has sort of always been a bit of a hobby of mine. And other than that, not really. Video games, I suppose.
Okay.
It's a real extensive list there of hobbies.
What?
I like tweaking things too. Like I'm a bit of a, what do you call it? Like a tech repair guy, I suppose, but not in any advanced way. Like I like doing old tech and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
What games do you play?
Yeah.
Aside from the one I'm currently playing, because that's currently still Far Cry. I mean, GTA is always on the list. What is a good set? Okay, because I've always been through like the Driver games, the Far Cry games, all the GTA's, Mafia. If you like played, I know there was the new Mafia that wasn't that great, but I like the old two. And simulators, I like all sorts of sims. I like pretty much anything first-person shooting that's not fantasy involved. Actually, you know what? I just realised I don't like fantasy in general. That's probably because of Jehovah's Witnesses. I've never really clicked onto that.
I'm the opposite. I love fantasy. I'm playing Skyrim right now.
I got Skyrim. I tried to play it, hey, and it was a beautiful looking game. I just could not get through it. I can't get into. Like, I can't feel like I'm there playing like in the game. You know.
It's a slow game. I understand.
It's
like grinding.
Not even that.
I've never played it because I don't want to get into it.
Fair enough.
World of Warcraft. I haven't played it because I know I won't stop.
Yeah, no, I never started on that one. Problem with it is, as well as it's is it still cost money to do World of Warcraft?
I think it does.
Like, you still have to pay to subscribe.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's still running.
Yeah, Rune's the same way, except like it got more expensive. I don't know if anyone ever played RuneScape.
I remember it, but I didn't play it. I used to work at a game shop, so.
No, okay. Yeah, it's pretty addictive. It's much lower quality of a World of Warcraft kind of thing, but it's still fun. Very grindy. Trying to think of the other question I had for that wasn't based. For your channel, I rewatched the video where you kind of reached out to everyone, and you said that.
Shout out to atheists.
Yeah, where you mentioned some channels that you were watching, like a GM Skeptic and a Godless Engineer. How you stayed away from Telltale for a while, and I think you said Godless Cranium too, right?
He would have been one of the ones that I would catch every now and then. It's just if there was any, because I don't think he did anything particularly on the Jehovah's Witnesses, because that would have been all that I was really avoiding. Hence why I was avoiding Telltale, because most of his stuff was pretty screaming, anti-Jehovah's Witness stuff. So I was like, nope, not gonna watch him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Telltale.
With that, I'm real curious on if you had jumped out of the Jehovah's Witness lifestyle and faith at such a young age, what made you stay away from watching things against them?
I jumped out from organized religion, but I didn't jump out of my faith, and I'd had that all my life. That's all I knew, and nothing had yet been able to challenge my faith. And I mean, that's why I'd still openly watch anything else that would challenge just Christianity in general, because nothing there would match what I believed, so no one happened to challenge my beliefs. But in hindsight, that was because I was avoiding anybody specifically challenging my beliefs.
Yeah, and I kind of had the same path there. I was listening to a lot of like Christopher Hitchens, and like he's not debating the exact beliefs that I have, but in general, like the foundation of it, he's kind of tearing it apart. So I'm just like, all right, well, maybe I should.
That's it. But in your own mind, especially when you're that wound up in your own bullshit, what you end up doing is just sort of justifying each thing by your own reasoning. So instead of what would be a good example? They might say this, and this about Jesus not being real, but then the moment they mention something to do with the Trinity, I will automatically in my brain just turn all of that off because he's talking about a different Jesus. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And I can just discredit everything you just said.
Yeah.
But
he obviously doesn't know what he's refuting.
Yeah, he's not talking about my beliefs. He doesn't know what I know. So
So then again, who was the first one that you listened to against Jehovah's Witnesses?
That's really hard to tell because, as I said, like I've tried going back. It was actually under a different account that I was watching them as well, and that's my public account. And so I was going through all the videos I've watched in my histories, trying to figure out which one was which and when did I watch what, because it's been like a bit of a whole roller coaster for the last 2 months, 2 months, I suppose. And so I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. But I know that it was definitely between like Heath, Telltale, and I think it was GMS. One of those videos, and so like one of the GMS videos would have been on something more broad, that because it's sort of a bit of a culmination. And this is what's hard to say because it's not like, you know, it. It's slow, you know, like it's a slow little bit by little bit. I was learning different arguments against other Christian beliefs, and then with one little click or one little switch of the light of you know, something that I watched against Jehovah's Witness. It might have been like the Pillowgate. It might have been the confirmation of the whole not being inspired by God, the organisation, the governing body not being inspired by God. Just the realisation of that, I suppose, after having been out of religion for so long, that they are just another man-made religion. So why would any of the stuff that they teach be true? Yet I still believed all of this stuff on my, you know, the faith that I had in it, even after leaving the religion. You know, and I think I just realised it all of a sudden. And then with one, you know, it only take one video and all of a sudden, boom, all of these questions, all of these, you know, everything just changes, you know.
Right.
So how recent has it been? Like, how long has it been since you woken up?
Probably about 2 weeks before my first video was uploaded.
Wow. I didn't know it was
not even that long. Because before then I was still very stubborn, and I was, you know, I was avoiding these, you know. Sorry, not
You're
before
like
my
a
first video,
newborn baby.
before my channel was created. Sorry, not my first video, because I think there was a few days there.
Yeah, I understood.
Yeah, very much so. I have not. I've only just the other day gotten my first copy of Crisis of Conscience, and I'm reading through that.
Wow.
I've watched enough, you know, other people's videos on them and their takes that I sort of have an idea of what I'm reading. But it's still good to have, you know, go through it myself.
My father would say you're a part of the Raymond Franz cult now.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, as well as I'm actually worried that somebody's going to find this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be good.
No.
So yeah, you're definitely new, and I just looked up here. It says your first video was about a month ago, so that could be anywhere from a month to 2 months, because there's like 4 or 5 of them that are a month ago. And you pump out what, about 2 a week?
27th of February, I think, was my first video.
Okay.
27th, I think. Is that the right date? By the end of February.
Okay. Yeah. So, so did you start making videos? I mean, I know it was quick, but like, how soon was it that that things like just kind of clicked for you, and then you wanted to make videos?
Pretty quick. I do videos for a few other channels, just for my own part, you know, for my own fun, and I never really had anything to say. I never really felt like you know, was worthy of doing anything serious, I suppose, with them. So I would just do videos of video gaming and just, you know, talking shit, basically, in video games, having fun. But it was all that's the thing. It was just a pointless thing. So when this happened, all of a sudden I realized that all of these things that I feel and I've experienced, not only am I not alone in it, but this can help people. And so it was sort of just a natural move for me to just start doing these.
Right. Yeah. That's something I think is really, really important about what you're doing is as soon as you felt that way, you jumped right in because there's other people like you who are about in the same transition stage who need to hit from the vantage point that you're at.
Well, that's it. And because I'm not, all the way gone, I suppose they would think of me. I'm sort of in that place where they might think they can do it. But it's important to hear that story as as sort of the change happens, I suppose, or as I learn more, I will have my opinions will change, or my my stated beliefs will evolve as the videos go on, and that's something that people, I hope, can pick up on and find people in those same places.
Right. They can learn your like path of learning, walk that same path you are.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's really important.
Fenrir, got a message.
Oh, did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I did not realize that.
Your vibrator went
That's all right.
Oh, wow. It sounds that sensitive. See what I can do about that.
So what gave you the idea for NotJah Witness? Because that is such a good name.
Really?
Oh.
I didn't take long. I don't know. I was like, okay, it has to be anonymous. It has to reference what that I'm not a witness.
I love it.
I think the first one was just not Jehovah's Witness, and I'm like, no, not Jah. And then very quickly I was like, not your witness. I'm not your witness. Yeah, I like that.
Awesome.
And apparently that wasn't lost on people. So I was happy.
Absolutely not. I cracked up. I think yours is like my favorite ex-Jehovah's Witness username.
Oh, sweet.
It's like,
Yes.
not your witness. I'm not your witness.
I think
I was amazed it hadn't already been taken.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprised me the most. Is just like, how new is this guy?
Yeah, like I
Just get this
just
name.
started it.
He didn't grab
name.
this
I
10
could not
years
believe
ago
it.
and just sit on it for a while.
Now I'm just worried about the website. I gotta hold off until I can afford buying the website.
Yeah.
Don't want anyone else pinching it from under me.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I say this on a live stream. Nice one.
Go get
Someone's going to buy it. Oh well.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely an amazing username, and it will really get people's attention. That's what.
Well, that was definitely part of the intent. I wanted to scream it, basically. Yet people still get confused as to my position, or like I had one person asking if I was a Mormon. Like like a Mormon? Like how could you think I'm a Mormon?
Yeah.
Actually, no. Well, that's right. That was Dr. Guyman. That makes sense.
I'm having such a hard time, like figuring out how serious he is about his material.
Oh, I think I enjoy his material a bit too much. I find it so entertaining.
I was going to say entertaining. Entertaining is the word.
Yes, no, and there's not really, and you have to like that kind of, it's a very niche market audience if you're going for that. And if that is what he's doing, then he's done it very well.
Yeah.
Either that or he's genuine, and that's sad.
Yeah, he definitely has a gift. I know Shannon Q's a big fan of him. She's like, "Oh, I love Dr. Guyman." I'm like, "Who's Dr. Guyman?" And she just like threw me a link. I'm like, "Okay, I'll check this out." I'm like, "Oh God, why'd you do this to me?"
he is amazing.
I'm too dumb to listen.
I'll have to check him out.
Jesus. Good luck.
Good.
It's,
Good luck.
it's that good, huh?
You've been warned.
Oh yeah.
You've been warned of how good it is. Cool. Well, I don't have a lot of other questions for you.
That's all right.
I'm wondering if there's anything else that you'd like to say. Any message you'd like to put out there before we're done?
Not really.
I'm NotJah Witness.
I'm NotJah Witness. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good to be honest. You know, I think we've touched on most of the things I had planned or sort of written down as stock point ideas. So yeah, no, it was a good start. I like it.
Yeah, it was good. The main thing here is I just wanted people to have a chance to get to know you, get to know who you are and why you're here, and hopefully we can get you more subscribers. You might not have a big spike because I have about a third of the subscribers that you do. I just hit 50 today. Very
oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Top effort, man.
Hey, that's a big mark.
It's such a pain in the ass too because it's so unpredictable. There's nothing really you can go like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get the subscribers. It doesn't work that way.
No,
so
no.
I just figure I just don't focus on it. You know, focus on the content. So the best way to do
the subscribers will come.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I just went about it the complete wrong way. I just should have had no content, and then I'd probably be close to 1,000.
Yeah, look at bloody Shannon, right? Yeah, how did she do that? Every time I look at that account, I'm like, what the? How? What did? Oh, jealous.
I really love the way she works. She doesn't make any content, but she's well known.
She's all over the place, though. Yeah, no, she's
It's crazy.
Create the content, but she's
I jumped into the community around the time I think she had probably like 25 to 50 subscribers.
Oh, true.
So she was just jumping in.
I knew Shannon when she wasn't even popular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, she's actually the one that kind of got me into the community because I started taking my channel a little more seriously in November, and then I found some people like Godless Cranium, and I started watching his videos, and then I started a Twitter, and I was just looking for other atheists, and she popped up with her parkour, running, Bible smacking out of hand tweet that she had up there for a long time, and I'm just like, wow, I don't know who this person is, but she's freaking awesome. So I followed her, and then from her I found everyone else in the community. So that was really cool.
Yeah, well, I got to admit the same thing. I had no idea who she was before she started sharing my stuff around and telling everyone to start subbing to me, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I had no, like, and the amount of stuff she's involved in, and yeah, good on her.
Right.
I'm still way early on the explorations of all the different videos, so I'm like, not only limited with what I can say, but the support she's given me is greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
She is a huge support to a lot of small time YouTubers. She's a great asset to the community as a spokesperson and as just a person who helps other people.
Absolutely.
She's really good about it. She loves finding new content creators and helping to build them up.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yes. Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out before we're done to the Godless Iowan, because
I was just thinking the same thing. Actually, I was like, mate, should I say it? Should I say it? Yeah, no, definitely. Shout out to him too.
He's so
good.
getting people subscribers and followers. He's fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't be at 50 subscribers right now if he didn't share my material as much as he does. Well, anyways, I think that's all I have for you, NotJah Witness. And I don't have anything Fenrir because I didn't expect you to pop up. Really
yeah, sorry about that.
It was great.
I didn't really know what I was doing when I did it either. But when I showed up, I said to myself, I might as well stay for the show.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
It was good.
That was good. And you gave us some good input where I couldn't, so that was great.
Yes. Definitely.
Glad I could be of some support.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, and thanks for everyone who was watching. We have 4 viewers. Woohoo!
What?
Thank you.
Woo! Thanks for watching.
Props to you guys.
Really appreciate it.
Real MVPs.
Yes. They made it to the end. So, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks for showing up, and I'll talk to you all later.
Later.
Bye all.